For 200 years, one single family ruled India and astonished the world, known to history as the Great Mughals. Welcome to IS at Speed of Light. In the previous chapter, we studied about the establishment and the consolidation of Delhi Sultanate from 1206 AD to 1526 AD. During this period, the rulers were Turks and Afghans. The disintegration of the Delhi Sultanate in the later period led to the emergence of various regional powers, and therefore, when Babur invaded India in 1526 AD, the central power of the Sultanate had substantially weakened, and there were a number of independent kingdoms. In this lecture, we will study about the conquest of India by a new ruling dynasty, the Mughals. The Mughals were led by an able military commander and administrator from the Central Asia named Zahiruddin Muhammad Babur, and his successors were successful in establishing an all-India empire gradually. We will study the details of this process of conquest and consolidations, and let us begin with the advent of Babur in India. The Khyber Pass, the Khyber Pass, we have all heard about Khyber Pass on the top of India. It is not only known for its romantic sceneries, but also it was the gateway from the Afghanistan to the riches of India and directly leading to the top of India. Through these mountains, we saw a number of invasions of great conquerors who were also the restless for plunders, for example Alexander or Genghis Khan or Timur. One conqueror who came through this way decided to stay back here, and his name was Babur, with royal blood in his veins. Babur traced his lineage from Timur the Great, conqueror of Central Asia, and to Genghis Khan, who was again the distinguished conqueror. So from mother's side, he was a descendant of Mongols, and from father's side, the great commander Timur. And because of the lineage of Timur, the Mughals are also referred as Timurids. So, as you can read in your screen as well, the Mughals period, we roughly start from 1526 to 1857. Okay. So, this whole reign we divide into three periods. The first period is of the great Mughals, where the Mughals got great leaders or great kings between 1526 to 1707 AD. This period we will study six major Mughal rulers starting from Babur to Aurangzeb, and when Aurangzeb died in 1707, then we will start the period of later Mughals. So the period from 1707 to 1857, that the kings after Aurangzeb. Between this, for 15 years, we will see Sur dynasty, which was led by Sher Shah Suri, and that is also referred as the second Afghan kingdom, second Afghan period. This is the hierarchy of all the great Mughal kings, starting from Babur, then Humayun, then Akbar, then Jahangir, then Shah Jahan, and lastly Aurangzeb. Mughals were Mongols, so the word Mughal, it is derived from Mongol. So now starting with Zahiruddin Muhammad Babur. He was a direct descendant of Timur through his father, and descendant also of Genghis Khan through his mother. So let us talk about the early life of Babur now. Early days of Babur was very difficult, and his father ruled a small kingdom to the north of Afghanistan known as Fargana, and his father died when he was only 12 years of age. Babur has explicitly described in his book Tuzuk-e Babri about how he and his few followers would wade in the night to different forts, but he saw a gradual increase in his followers, and the reason was because he was a great leader and a motivator. Then suddenly came a turnaround for Babur when he captured this city of Kabul, which is the present-day capital of the country, Afghanistan. This was the place under the influence of Persia at that time, and these Persian or the Iranian traits later he and his family would introduce in India. Thus, the early years of Babur's rule in Central Asia were tough, and during this whole period, he had plans of moving towards the Hindustan. But after capturing Kabul in 1504 AD, we can understand rulers those days could not relax for long. Because a reign which is based on military power, it needs constant new conquest to bring more wealth. Now, sitting there in Afghanistan, he had four ways to go. On the north, there was a powerful empire who had even took his hometown from him, that is Fergana. To the western side, it was even more powerful empire, the Persian Empire. To the south, it was the desert, and on the north, it was India, going through Khyber Pass. The unstable political situation in India after the death of Sikandar Lodi also convinced Babur of the political discontentment and the disorder in the Lodi Empire. While there was a conflict between some Afghan chiefs with the ruling Sultan that time, Ibrahim Lodi, the prominent of them was Daulat Khan Lodi, who was the governor of large part of Punjab at that time, and the Rajput king of Mewar, Rana Sanga. So these two people, Daulat Khan Lodi and Rana Sangha, sent a word to the Babur to invade India and defeat Ibrahim Lodi. So Daulat Khan Lodi, who was the governor of Punjab that time, and Rana Sanga, the king of Mewar. This has been once asked in IAS as well about Daulat Khan Lodi. So these two people sent word to Babur to invade India, and probably these invitations from Rana Sanga and Daulat Khan Lodi might have encouraged Babur ambitions to conquer Hindustan. These are some of the early expeditions of Babur on India starting from 1518 AD to 1524 AD. Babur used artillery in 1519 in his attack on Bhira, but the artillery was first used by Bahmani kingdom against Vijayanagar in 15th century. So this is a sort of fact which we can remember. The first artillery was used in the subcontinent by the Bahmani kingdom against Vijayanagar kingdom, and Babur used artillery in 1519. So that time, North India was ruled by many rival kings who were busy fighting with each other, who couldn't unite against an outsider invader. And the price for this one, for Babur, it would be a rich one, because Babur that time had a magic weapon. And can you imagine what was that? That magic weapon was the gunpowder. And in India, nobody knew what these strange objects were. In addition to this, he had some very basic artillery. So after these initials victory or initial invasions in India, then came a watershed year, a watershed battle in the history of India, that is the first battle of Panipat in 1526 AD. Uh, Ibrahim Lodi and Babur's forces met at Panipat in 1526. In this battle, Babur's soldiers were very less in number. They had an active army of 15,000 soldiers, while Ibrahim's army had an estimated strength of 1 lakh soldiers. But the organization of the Babur's army was superior, and he used some of the very unique war strategies which he has described in his book Tuzuke Babari. So the battle was fought, and the result was obvious. Some of the strategies which were used by Babur. First one is Rumi. Rumi is the Ottoman way of warfare in which he encircled Ibrahim's army from two flanks. In the center of his cavalry, they mounted some people who are going to attack with the arrows and guns fire by the expert Ottoman gunners. They led ditches and clamped them with fallen trees. Baba used cavalry, which was more faster and more mobile, whereas Lodi was using elephants. And in his book, Baba credited his cavalry for this victory and not his artillery. And after this victory, Khutbah was read in the name of Babur in Delhi. And Khutbah, we have seen it is a prayer in the mosque on Fridays. So this battle, Afghan army of Ibrahim Lodi suffered heavy casualties, and Ibrahim Lodi died in the battlefield itself. And Babur was thus able to take control of Delhi and Agra and got the riches of the Lodis. This money was later distributed among the Babur's soldiers and commanders. Now, victory at Panipat, victory over Ibrahim Lodi, provided Babur a firm ground to consolidate his conquest, but now he was faced with a new problems. And first one was his nobles and commanders were eager to return to Central Asia because they did not like the climate of India, and culturally also they felt very alienated. Second issue was the Rajputs were now rallying around the leadership of Rana Sanga, who was the king of Mewar. If you remember, this is the same Rana Sanga who sent the invitation to Babur to attack India. Third were the Afghans, or the after the defeat of Lodis, they they were still a formidable force in the eastern parts of India, that is UP, Bihar, and Bengal, and they were also regrouping to reclaim their lost position. So, to start with these problems, Babur convinced his companions and nobles to stay back and help in consolidating the conquered territories. So, after succeeding in this difficult task of convincing his nobles and commanders, he sent his son Humayun to face the eastern Afghans. And then, to shed away the second problem, that is a problem of Rajputs under Rana Sanga, in 1527 another battle was fought between Babur and Rana Sanga, and this battle is known as the Battle of Khanwa. And Khanwa is a place near Fatehpur Sikri, UP. According to Babur, in his book, Rana Sanga, who was an arch rival of Ibrahim Lodi, we have seen how he sent the invitation to Babur to invade Ibrahim Lodi and defeat him. Ibrahim Lodi Rana Sanga had promised Babur that he would help him in the battle against Ibrahim Lodi, but he did not do so. So he attacked Rana Sanga. And Rana Sangha also possibly expected Babur to return to Kabul after defeating Ibrahim Lodi's, but Babur's decisions to stay back must have given a big jolt to Rana Sangha's ambitions. And Babur was also that time fully aware of the fact that it would not be possible for him to consolidate his position in India unless he shattered the Rana's power. So they had a battle, and again, the unique superior military tactics of Babur succeeded, and Rana Sanga was defeated in this battle. This Rana Sanga belonged to, from Sisodia dynasty. He was a king of Mewa, that is the southeastern part of Rajasthan, and he was also the grandfather of Maharana Pratap, who fought with Babur's grandson Akbar in the Battle of Haldi Ghati in 1576. This we will see when we'll study about Akbar. In this battle, the soldiers of Babur, they heard the stories of the bravery of the Rajputs, and they were quite reluctant to go into the war. But Babur inspired his soldiers and declared this war as jihad. So jihad means a struggle, but it was used by Muslim kings for political purposes to give some motivation to their soldiers. Now, after defeating Rana Sanga, the Meva Rajputs they received great shock at Khanwa. But there was another person known as Medini Rai at Malwa who was still threatening to challenge the authority of Babur. And in spite of again great valor with which Rajputs fought in Chanderi in 1528 AD, Babur faced little difficulty in overcoming Medini Rai. So with this defeat at Chanderi, the power of the resistance across the Rajputan was completely shattered. Now Babur had to tackle Afghans. So he fought a battle against Afghans in 1529, the Battle of Ghagra, and he captured Bihar. Now, when you reach Bihar, another step would be to go to Bengal. But Babur didn't proceed against Bengal king that time, Nushra Shah, because Nushra Shah had endeared himself by sending gifts to Babur. So for Babur, the success against the Afghans and Rajputs at Battle of Panipat, Battle of Khandwa, Battle of Chanderi, Battle of Ghagra was very significant, but the resistance was still present. And however, these victories were a step forward in the direction of the establishment of Mughal Empire in India. Babur died in 1530, and still the rulers of Gujarat, Malwa, Bengal, they enjoyed substantial military power and were not suppressed. And this all incomplete of work of Babur, it was given to his son Humayun to complete. And let us see how much Humayun was able to complete the unfinished work of his father. Babur wrote his autobiography Tuzuke Baburi in his mother tongue Turkish. He was a Turk, and so his mother tongue was Turkish. It was translated into Persian during the reign of Akbar by Abdul Rahim Khane Khana, who was also one of the Navratna of Akbar. He had built Kabul Bagh Mosque at Panipat and Jama Masjid at Sambal, Rohilkhand. And we saw he died in 1530 AD, and initially he was buried at Agra but later shifted to Kabul, and now the tomb of Babur is at Kabul. Let us see something about the personal life of Babur here. When Babur came to India, he saw culture in India which was totally different from the Muslim world, and there was something which Islam completely disapproved, and that is the idol worship. He was a keen observer, and he wrote a section in his diary which was named as Description of India. In that, he has mentioned that on 27th September 1528, he visited the city of Gwalior in Madhya Pradesh, and he got really impressed and really got hallucinated by the beautiful forts there. And one thing which actually displeased him were the naked idols of Jain Munis on the walls of the fort. And those famous Jain sculptures, he ordered to destroy them. He laid down Rambagh, he garden in Agra, and it was laid down in regards with same as in Persian threads like the rectangular flow of water. He created many such gardens in Kabul, and this one he might made to remember his hometown, Kabul. He used to come to this garden, the Rambagh Garden of Agra, and to do his favorite work. And his favorite work was to write his diary. So he died at the age of 47 in 1530 AD. And now the chance comes for Humayun. Humayun, who started ruling from 1530 AD after the death of Babur, and initially he ruled till 1540, and then again he came back in 1555. Let us see now what happened with Humayun. Humayun was born to Maham Begum in 1508 in the city of Kabul. And when Babur died, he had to tackle with several problems. Babur had two major problems at time: the Afghans under Sher Shah Suri in the eastern India, and Bahadur Shah of Gujarat in the west. So here they are sitting in Delhi. In the eastern side, they had Sher Shah Suri, a very powerful ruler, an Afghan, and in the western side he has Bahadur Shah. Out of them, his biggest rival was Sher Shah Suri, who defeated him in the Battle of Kannauj in the year 1540. And that time, Humayun was left with no choice, with no option but to leave India and escape to Iran for some time. In the year 1555, Humayun came back with a strong force and fierce determination and recovered his kingdom back. And by that time, because Sher Shah Suri was dead, he ruled over most of India, Pakistan, and Afghanistan, and was an efficient ruler also. Let us see now his personal character, the Humayun's personal character. Uh, he was a very different character from his father. He was sentimental, he was superstitious, and he was extremely and exceedingly superstitious. He tried to organize his whole civil services through zodiac signs. Like the earthly signs were given the job of agriculture, the people with the water signs they were given the job of canals. So astrology, yes, it won some battles for him, but soon Mughal army started facing some unprecedented shocks or unpleasant shocks, which we have seen, where Sher Shah Suri defeated the army of Humayun in 1540 AD, and Humayun himself had to make several humiliating departures from the battlefield, and he wandered like a refugee in the desert of Rajasthan with his family for some time. And this is the same time when he was wandering in the desert, a son was born to him and who came to be known as Akbar in the history of India. So Akbar is also known as a desert boy. Because of this reason he was born in the desert. Despite all odds, Humayun, we have seen he came back in India in 1555 AD and recovered his lost kingdom. Humayun died just after 6 months of recapturing his tomb and became first and the greatest monument of Mughal India, his tomb. Now, this is the building where Humayun moved his books and he made it into his library. And it was the morning time when he fell from the roof stairs and he died there in this building. This is Humayun Library building in New Delhi. So that was the end of Humayun, who just died 6 months after he recovered his kingdom, and his tomb. This is the Humayun tomb, which became the first and one of the marvelous architecture from the Mughal administration or from the Mughal kingdom. We will talk about Akbar, but let us see about one more personality here, and he was the Sher Shah Suri. So, Sher Shah Suri or the Sur dynasty. 1540 to 1555 AD. So, if you are seeing the sequence here, 1530 Babur died, and from 1530 1540 Humayun ruled. But in the Battle of Kannauj, Sher Shah Suri defeated Humayun, and that time Humayun had to escape to Iran. So, Sher Shah Suri, he is regarded as one of the greatest rulers of India, and this period is also known as the second Afghan rule. Second after the Modi rules in Delhi Sultanate, we have seen the Modis were the Afghans. So, this is also known as the second Afghan rule in the history of India between 1540 to 1555. His original name, the Sher Shah Suri's original name was Farid. We're talking about Sher Shah Suri. And his original name was Farid, and he was born in Hoshiarpur district, which is in Punjab. Later, he was taken to Sasaram. Sasaram again is a place in Bihar by his father, where he held a Jagir. Uh, in 1522 AD, Sher Shah got into the service of one independent ruler of Bihar named Muhammad Shah Nuhani, and it was Nuhani who conferred him the title of Sher Shah. So Nuhani, who was an independent ruler of the Bengal that time, of Bihar that time, he confined the title of Sher Shah on Farid. After the death of now Muhammad Shah Nuhani, this particular person, Sher Shah became the independent ruler of Bihar, and he won many forts, and the famous victory came in 1540 at Battle of Kannauj. At Battle of Kannauj, where he defeated Humayun. And from there it started the rule of Sur dynasty, or the rule of Sher Shah Suri. He died very soon after that. He died in 1545 AD due to an accidental explosion of gunpowder. So he became another king who died accidentally in the history of India. First one being Iltutmish, who died while playing Pogo. Then Ghiasuddin Tughlaq, who died by falling off a pandal or camp. And now Sher Shah Suri, who died because of a gunpowder explosion of gunpowder. So he was Sher Shah Suri, and he is really famous for the administration which he gave to India, and also he built the famous Grand Trunk Road in India. About the administration of the Sur dynasty, we will study in the next lecture when we will talk about the administration of Delhi Sultanate and Mughals. Now coming back to the desert sun, or a desert boy, right? Akbar. So when Humayun died after falling from his library, uh, we can understand in such an unstable empire, the death of a king means a complete political chaos. And that time, Akbar was only 12 miles away from Delhi in Punjab, in a place known as Kalanor. Behram Khan was an expert general of Humayun who then hurried for his coronation. So this is a place in Kalanor, Punjab, and this is the platform where Akbar was coronated for the first time. But it is not among the famous places for the historians. Maybe for the historians it's a famous place, but not for the tourists. So as he sat over this throne that time in 1526 AD, the chances of his good future were very bleak as he was the emperor of only few soldiers which surrounded him. The rival rulers now see a young boy on the throne as just the chance they have been waiting for, and a large Hindu army captured Delhi and moved in the northward direction to drive Akbar out of India. And this battle, again in history, it's famously known as the Second Battle of Panipat between Hemu, and Hemu was a Hindu general of Sher Shah Suri of Sur dynasty, and Akbar. In this battle, now Second Battle of Panipat, the Mughals were outnumbered, and if they had lost this battle, there would not be any Mughal rule in India. But it was a chance of luck. An arrow hit the eye of the Hindu general, and that sight was so visible to the army as that general was sitting over the elephant, on seeing which the whole army flee. And it's really strange that such minor incidents have the power to turn the tide of events in the history. Uh, by the end of this battle, Mughals had captured nearly 1500 elements. So now Akbar, his commander Behram Khan, and his army, along with so many elephants, they marched towards Delhi, for the moment unopposed. So let's go to the literary sources where we reconstruct the history of the period of Akbar. First one is Akbarnama, which was written by Abu Fazl, who was an Mansabdar and a court historian of Akbar. What is Mansabdar, what it means, these things we will talk when we'll talk about the Mughal administration. And Abu Fazl is a historian who is considered as the most scientific historian of medieval period, and this book Akbarnama has 3 volumes, and it's an important source of Akbar's personality and his policies. The third volume of Akbarnama is known as Aine Akbari, and which means the law of Akbar. And this particular book, it praises the policies of Akbar. Second book which was written, it was the Tabaqat-e Akbari, which was written by Nizamuddin Ahmad. Another book was Muntakhab ul Taharikh, and it literally means selected writers, and the author was Abdul Qadim Badani. So Abdul Qadim Badani was an Orthodox Islamic historian, and it is quite understandable that the Orthodox Islamic person would not like the policies of secularism which was practiced by Akbar that time. So Maula Badani in this book has criticized the religious policies of the Akbar. These are some of the foreign writers who gave the observations of the Mughal Empire and Agra in their writings. Raphael Fitch, Moningrat, and Aquavira. The Raphael Fitch was an Englishman, and the rest two are the Portuguese. So we have seen the early life of Akbar. He was born in Umarkot, Sindh in 1542 AD. His father was Humayun and mother was Begum Hamida Bano. He was coronated in 1556 AD as Kalanapur, Punjab, at the age of 13 years. We have seen under which circumstances his coronation took place. Akbar was not properly educated. He could read, but he could not write, and despite of the best efforts which were put by his teacher or tutor, Abdul Latif. And despite this drawback, he had good knowledge of different fields. His hobbies were horse riding and pigeon flying, and Janmashtami was his favorite festival, and this has been one SAS in IAS as well. So, second battle of Panipat we have already discussed. We are talking about the major events in Akbar's life now. Second battle of Panipat, which was fought on 5th of November 1556 AD between Akbar and the Hemu, who was the commander of Adil Shah Sur, last of the Sur dynasty of Sher Shah Suri. During now this time, between 1556 to 1560, it is also known as the period of regency of Bairam Khan. Bairam Khan remained at the helm of affairs of the Mughal Empire for almost 4 years, which is also popularly known as the period of Bairam Khan regency. And during this phase, he appointed his favorite nobles on the important positions. Bairam Khan emerged as the most powerful noble, and later he became very arrogant. And a group of nobles were also opposed to him. Uh, they managed to influence Akbar also, and by this time Akbar also wanted to assume the full control over the state political affairs, and he removed Bairam Khan. Bairam Khan revolted, but he was defeated by Akbar. So, Maham Maham Angana was the foster mother of Akbar, and she also became very prominent during this period. She wanted her son Adam Khan to be Wakil-e-Sultanate, that is Wazir, and hence conspired against Bairam Khan. Bairam Khan was a Shia, so he also suffered from Shia-Sunni conflict, and the Sunni sections accused him of being arrogant. And by reaching this 1560, we talked like when Akbar got matured, he wanted to remove Bairam Khan, and he wanted a decent exit from Bairam Khan. And he gave him three options for an honorable exit and offered him Jagirs of certain territory or to become the advisor of Akbar. And last option was to proceed to Makkah for Hajj, for a pilgrimage. And Bairam Khan chose to step down and decided to go to Makkah. And when he was going to Makkah in 1561, he was killed by an Afghan rival in Pathan, Gujarat. That is the end of the Bairam Khan regency from 1556 to 1560, where we see the state political affairs were in the hands of one Khane-Khana of Akbar, that is Bairam Khan. After that, we also see a petticoat government. Petticoat government, what it means is this foster mother of Akbar, Maham Anangana, who played a key role in administration, and Akbar was also not fully in command during this period. And this period, historians, that is why is known as a petticoat government, because it was ruled that time by the Angana, Maham Angana. Uh, there is another point about Bairam Khan. Akbar married Salima, who was Bairam Khan's widow and who was also Akbar's cousin. He brought up Salima's son Abdul Rahim as his own son. And this Abdul Rahim later became a great Hindi poet, and he was given the title of Khane-Khana. Khane-Khana, it means Khan of Khans. Okay. So now, starting period, what all difficulties that Akbar faced, now he took the full control of the government in his hands, and now he will look for the conquest and the consolidations of his empire. The major political powers that were spread in different parts of the countries that time were, if we discuss it briefly, it first are the Rajputs. who were though present in the whole of the subcontinent, but they were mainly concentrated in the uh, s- uh, southwestern part of Delhi, that is Rajasthan, and it is also the center of the great Hindu power. So, if this is Delhi, this is Chittor, and this is Amber. Amber, present day, it's Jaipur. So, Rajputs were the one power. Second were the Afghans, who had still had the political control in Gujarat, Bihar, and Bengal. The South Indian kingdoms and the Deccan kingdoms like Khandesh, Ahmednagar, Bijapur, Golconda, and the northwestern part, Kabul and Kandahar. Though they were ruled by the Mughal factions, but those Mughal factions were hostile towards the Akbar. So these four political powers who were there in the subcontinent, the Akbar now will look to win over these political powers to have a big empire. So let us see how Akbar is going to accomplish that. So Akbar, through a systematic policy, started the task of expanding his empire. The first step that Akbar took after the dismissal of Bahram Khan was to put an end to the conflict within the nobility. So he demonstrated great diplomatical skills and organizational skills in handling the nobility within the empire. And Akbar started his policy of expansion with central India. In 1560, the first expedition was sent to capture Gwalior before moving towards Malwa. Malwa in Central Asia, that time it was ruled by Baj Bahadur, and Akbar deputed Adham Khan to lead the expedition against it. And Baj Bahadur was defeated and fled towards Burhanpur, uh, Gondwana, in independent state in Central Asia, which was ruled by Rani Durgavati that time, and it was also conquered and annexed to the Mughal Empire in 1564. So, military conquest, first of his earliest conquest was against Malwa. First, we proceeded towards the central India. Now, his main worry was Rajasthan and the Rajputs. So, uh, Akbar was fully aware of the importance of the Rajput kingdoms and wanted them as allies in his ambition of establishing a large empire. He tried to win over the Rajputs wherever it is possible. It was possible and inducted them into the Mughal service. And we will see he also entered into the matrimonial alliances with the Rajput rulers Raja Baharmal of Amber, who was the first to enter into alliance with Akbar. So, starting from Delhi here, next comes Chittor, and this time the Chittor, it was held by one great Rajputana king that time, and it was the Maharana Pratap, or the grand son of the Rana Sanga, who fought with Babur. So, Maharana Pratap, the ruler of Mewa, he posed serious challenges to the Mughal army and did not submit before Akbar. And after a prolonged struggle and the siege of fort of Chittor, Akbar succeeded somehow in defeated Chittor, and Amber, uh, they made a matrimonial alliance with the Akbar. The state of Amber, they made matrimonial alliance with Akbar. So by 1570 roughly, we see Akbar had captured almost whole of Rajasthan. But it is interesting to see here is like the most important achievement if we see of Akbar. It was in spite of this so much of battles between the whole of Rajasthan and the Delhi Mughal rule. There was no hostility between the Rajputs and the Mughals. So, 1568, he overpowered Chittor, Maharana Pratap,